Our EMS 2027-28 budget work session. Please, pledge allegiance.
The United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Hill,
Here.
Treasurer Anderson,
Here.
Trustee Appy. Trustee Osling,
Here.
Clerk Squires. Here.
Thank you. How many on Zoom?
0.
Thank you. You all have a copy of the agenda, board members. But this is still correct, this board members. The agenda before I call them. Hearing none, then entertain a motion. Before I approve the agenda as presented. So move Treasurer Anderson. Support trustee Osling. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same, motion carried, thank you. Item number 1, police 2027-2028 proposed budget. Chief Machinsky.
Good afternoon, everyone. I provided you all with the copy a little bit last week, so hopefully you'll have a chance to look over, but we'll kind of go a little bit here. Just want to remind everyone, we are trying to budget 18 months out in advance, and if that is difficult to do. We calculate inflation, cost increase, expenses, etc., and things like that.
Speak up.
Try to do the best that we can. Is that better?
That's better,
Okay,
slightly. Can you adjust it by at all?
I can. Try now.
that's
Better.
that better. Okay.
Great, thank you.
So you see in the second column, there, 27-28 proposed budget, the estimated fund balance there. That line does include the capital carryover, which is down at the bottom. There. So we came up with that number. The special assessed of the 2.39 mils times the taxable value. Divided by 1,000, and it's the 1,046,189. That figure was provided by the assessor on May 4th, 2026. For a subtotal of the 1.329 million there. Moving down to the MJTC funds line of $2,000. That is the 302 funding that we received from the state, based off hours for the previous year of 2026. And it's based on a total of 7 FTE employees, full-time employees. Again, it's from the state for $2,000. The CPU training funds, $3,500. That was the pilot program that I've talked about several times at different work sessions. That pilot program is ending in 2027. I'm not sure if it's going to be renewed in 2028, but for now it will be in 2027. For $3,500. For a total of $5,500. The next on there is school resource officer. Obviously we renewed it for the 26-27 year. I have intentions of following up with the school superintendent this fall to see if it's something that they wish to continue for that year. So that could potentially. We could potentially get no agreement and get some funding there and also, we continue with the 75-25 split like we've done for the upcoming school year with that.
It's a pass through, basically.
Yeah.
No?
If it doesn't say, if we don't get down to the contract for another year, then will it go away or? Are there any other, I know that this fee is funded, but this year they were paying most of that themselves.
Yeah, well, the upcoming school year is, the school is funding it, there's no grant or anything, our
Okay.
3-year cycle for the grant that we had I did that in February.
Okay.
I mean, there is a possibility that there could be a grant available, but haven't heard nothing yet
Okay.
on it. So if there's a grant available, obviously we encourage schools
Right,
to
right.
apply for it.
Right, it's not.
Yeah,
Well, you can't state the revenue, you don't know when it's gonna happen.
correct.
But if you don't get that, then when it's still John Ellis, he would then be road patrol or something.
Hey, you just come back to the office and we go back to the way we used to with, you know, if the school has a problem, they contact us and we want them to handle it. And,
Be very fortunate.
Yeah, what,
Yeah,
you
it's
lose all
so
the control
beneficial.
activity, is what it is, and then you're back to a reactive mode. And so,
right. So I do have intentions of doing that in the fall to meet the superintendent and hopefully we can continue on, for many years to come. And, see if maybe we can set some money aside and have that line item in the budget, that we want to be on with it. It's a great benefit for our departments, the schools, the parents, the community, everybody, so. Yeah.
You know, in schools, roughly, percentage wise of that resource officers in the state.
Oh, Lake had one, they were using the sheriff's department, but weren't they?
Yeah, Walt Lake has one, Charlton Heston had one, Green had one.
so there's always Lansing money's
I
turned
was
out,
gonna say that.
they have, and
Yeah.
but they all run like we would have to run, we can't simply carve out, in this current village money, a full position. You know, to say, hey, we're gonna dedicate it to the school, that's why the sharing came up. That's why the grants were so important, to continue that through the part of that. So, we'll see, a new superintendent, and, so you'll be pursuing that, but certainly can't budget for it.
Yeah,
obviously.
we just can't account it right now.
Can't count on the revenue, correct, if you do, it's a pass through.
Yeah,
And then they'll increase that budget number by the amount of 75%, if it's that,
yeah, they,
or.
I know, probably working about.
Yeah, right.
So, the next line there is the liquor inspections, annual fund that we receive from the state for doing, monthly liquor inspections, within our township. We currently have 5 locations, we're down 1 location, we can be, the store on the west side, closing the doors, they held a liquor license there for a while, and
Did they increase it? Because that's more than double last year. In the revenue. The revenue had 726.27, and your revenue assumption is 59.
That's the figure this year.
yeah,
So
that's
it's based on actual this year,
yes.
must have had an increase then, huh? Okay,
Yeah, it was an increase from.
well, that's reasonable, that's all.
Cost recovery fees, that's funds received from services provided at accident scenes to non-residents, at-fault drivers. For our local ordinance 42, that was effective in April of 2012. Anticipating, roughly $700, not a big money, anything, but roughly 700 there. Same for the impound fees, that's money we collect if vehicles impounded near an impound lot. Again, don't collect a whole lot on it, but it's paying around $200. Reports. About $700. That's for accidents and incident reports, via the state website, license nexus, patch dots, car dots, and our department FOIA requests that were received. I think it was dividend earnings, roughly 30,000 for that. That's annual interest earned from PD, 3 bank accounts, the general capital funding and capital projects. We got that figure from Gerrish Anderson.
Even 30 is probably
No,
lower.
Well,
Yeah,
I
experience.
think you had given us 32 or 33, but we kind of caution on the website.
Was it up so much from last year?
Those are budget figures, and that 18 is not the actual, but the actual was much higher than.
Oh, okay.
So if you're looking at a budgetary increase, not an actual true earnings, the true earnings that they had was well above this.
What's that?
When cost recovery was lost.
Likely because of the experience in the previous year, I'm guessing. Chief?
They're not
Chief?
getting.
Yeah, we're not getting it.
We're not getting people to pay.
We're not getting people to pay, okay,
Yeah,
Insurance companies are fighting.
right.
okay.
Because what happens is the insurance companies send, they'll either maybe pick up a portion of it
Yeah.
and the individual's responsible for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And if they don't pay it, we don't make them the
Right.
money, and some people, and then some people are on a payment plan, maybe on a payment plan, and we might get $5 a month for however long.
Pretty heavy budget number, budget one.
So any questions on that portion of it, or?
Mm.
So, go to the next page with, all the account numbers and stuff on it.
Your budget comes through worksheet, but that will going, or you go with just numbers that don't mean much to getting at it.
Well, this,
Okay, that's the numbers, but the explanation goes in the assumption worksheet the next page.
yeah, that's the budget assumption worksheet.
Got it? Okay, so just. If any.
So you see it starts out with the salaries and extra duty pay and the salary and officer salary, based off our wage study that we had done last year. We had done a 5% increase for, the 26-27 budget and proposing a 5% increase for the 27-28 budget. Based off our wage study that we've done.
Which you were 10% behind, you only got 5.
Correct.
10% behind the other agency.
Yeah.
Right.
And if anybody would like to look at that, I can provide that document.
We believe you. It's just, it's hard, I don't know how long we'll be on the same 5% each get. Just like every time we get something here at board level, we're still gonna be 10,000 behind that township. You know, I think that. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the other piece to that you're gonna need to electing that, since you've been chief the last couple of years. The state is capped at 5% each time. And this year, it is at 2.7.
2.7%.
Yeah, 2.7, and I think that you need to read the tea leaves for next year. So there's got to be what I call a foot in the bucket in your county, meaning that as you sustain and keep your long-term employees, because that's what we want to do, going through the pay schedules, that at some point, either things or personnel can get affected, because you'll be dropping from 5 to 2.7, or I don't know what it'll be just the following, if you will, like you said, you're 8 months out. So mine is only just cautionary tale, you need to look at that. And there may become, as Michelle stated, a market value cap piece on that. I know that we want to stay competitive and right now, but on the same token, you have to look at whether you could keep that up in the future under 2.7, plus having extra expenses for both employees that through the pay schedule diagonally, I guess you will, when they jump in.
Yeah.
And plus COLAs. So as long as you're aware of that, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, we plan on doing another wage study,
Well, you're gonna have to wait and benefit study.
yeah,
As
that's,
well.
well, that'll be the same,
Complete package study.
yeah, in the springtime, so hopefully. I know a lot of the agencies were kind of coming to the end of their contracts and they had renewed, so. They're gonna be renewed for 3 to 5 years, so it'll be interesting to see what they've done, in their new contracts.
Or do you need, like,
No,
through the assumptions on the worksheet?
I-
And you had your moments with them?
I already read. through
I-
it.
I did too,
I've
yeah.
been through it as well.
And I don't disagree with the wage bid at all, don't, please don't misunderstand me, it's just a matter of, you know, you're never gonna get paid up here what you get paid in a bigger community, they're all those things, and I just, like you said, 5% each year is substantial, you just wanna make sure you can continue to do everything you're doing.
Mhm.
Obviously, the way your worksheet is there, calculates that on out. One note to self as well, board. It is 27 pays next year to our budgets as well. So it is
Thanks for the reminder.
it's the X, Y, and Z, so when we take a look at this one has 27 pays as well. And so just FYI all. Um, I've already put that in my budget file. You don't forget that.
Oh, you mean so you don't have to skip a page?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You get paid that.
Precisely, and then, I think probably one of the other issues here. That, again, that's the one that I always just astounded me as when I first started noticing years ago as a chief. The repetitive fee to keep your, programs and whatever, to keep yourself in business. And I remember when I first started noticing that, it was maybe, I don't know, I kept coming off about between 6,000-7,000. I just couldn't, what am I waiting at, if you will? And well, it just comes along, and then they raise fees in it, and now I think it's interesting to note that is up to $36,245 for the programs it takes and the things that are required to run the department, and that's a lot of money. But there's nothing you can do about it. And so that's the last 2 pages here. That's the only comment I just wanted to bring up for the board's attention, and I wanted to bring to your attention. That you need to, as you're looking at this, you need to also look out, you don't do, we never had a 3-year layout. Type thing, I mean, I always did it in my mind.
Right.
But you need to do a good 2-3-year plan out here, moving forward to make sure that you don't run into a decreasing millage. Or I should say millage number is the same, but your assessment benefits are less. From that millage number, because you're still gonna have a 239, which,
Right.
but eventually the 239 is gonna be decreased a bit as that CPI comes down further yet, if it will, if it does, I don't know, we went from 5 to 2.7. And so you've had 2 5s since you've been in office,
Mhm.
and this is your first, I call decreased one.
Right.
And just make sure that you're aware of that moving out. You both of you moving out, 2 years from now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have that 5%, but you then got to start looking at how does that affect you. Probably year to year after. What I always call it, there is a foot in the bucket in there, that's all. Financially, but other than that, I don't have any other questions. Mary Jo, you got a question?
No.
Michelle?
I do, but it's not like budget related, I didn't know you had off-duty weapons. What's the difference between on-duty and off-duty weapons?
Yeah, on-duty weapons that we carry with
Like
us,
where,
and then they're issued an off-duty weapon.
like a rifle?
No, it's a smaller compact
Okay,
firearm
okay,
to carry off duty, like
okay.
if they want to carry off duty.
Yeah,
We don't have to
yeah.
pay that safety for them.
You can't carry your police gun off duty. Yeah,
Awful big.
the one you're carrying.
Yeah,
on.
I mean, they can carry it if they choose to, but it's a lot bigger
Okay,
and
Harder to conceal.
part of our policy is that it can be concealed. So
Okay.
a smaller compact one is like,
yeah,
something like it might fit in
Yeah.
the pocket around the ankle,
I was curious,
Or
I didn't know that was
under a shirt.
truly on duty.
And
Okay, thank
and you
you.
can't just let them willy-nilly carry whatever they
Yeah.
wish. And so therefore you have those, and they're trained at the.
Yeah, they're-
So.
Yeah,
They have to
Okay.
qualify with,
yeah,
and it's all registered on the sheet.
I knew that, like I said, I just didn't know if there was an offbeat of it.
Yeah, no, it's not, or anything like that,
Okay.
it's just a regular firearm.
All right, thank you.
All right. Bill Nelson.
Stupid question here. Back to the 27 days. Well, versus
26.
twice a month versus every 2 weeks, is that the issue, I take it, right?
It's every 2 weeks,
The
but
way the calendar
what happens
is,
is when you do that, because the way calendar works. Every 5 years or so, when you pay every 2 weeks. You'll have, a year,
Exactly.
27 days,
Yeah.
a year. Which, it doesn't matter to them, they get paid so much per hour.
Right.
It's just the way the accounting falls out that there'll be a higher expense. Us as elected officials have a statutory basis. We cannot receive any more than that amount that was allocated for the budget
At the end of the.
in that fiscal year. So in our case, you have to make sure that it goes, that 27th day either is not honored, not paid to us, or you reallocate our salaries over 27 instead of 26.
Right.
So they can go and end up with, a few years ago when it was.
It was a few years ago,
An
yeah,
issue.
when we went from monthly pay to bi-weekly pay.
Mhm.
We didn't take that into account, and then come the end of
Yeah.
the calendar year,
I think I get
we
it.
had to
I
let people
understand.
not get paid because they've been overpaid.
I understand the problem. Is it easier for the accounting piece of it in the clerk's office to pay it every 2 weeks rather than,
It is now that it's been done that way for 2 years, yeah.
You just have to, you just have to be aware of it. It's that. If you, we remember at the annual meeting for all of the, we say X amount for annual, if you will.
Yeah, we can get paid by the week, we got paid by the year.
Right,
So,
right.
so of course, we have to be prepared, that's.
Okay.
We're on it. It was before I got here.
Learn with every mistake, I said.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Jim Anderson, anything else?
No, the capital equipment, I noticed you got a car coming out that year, but you'll have carryover of that. capital.
Yeah, that budget year is kind of a big year for us, because we have a new car, we have to, get new firearms also because of the retention on that. Liability.
Yep.
So it's kind of a good year. And I know we've been doing some projects next door and things and trying to get grants to help out with those things when we can. And the projects that we've been doing is, those items have been budgeted over the past few years, so they've been accounted for. But we're coming to an end on some of those items. I know, and I talked about it at a work session, Ryan Savage, who does our heating and stuff, he gave recommended a furnace replacement for the fall, due to draft reducer and, the burner, which is hot sleep that you can't get anymore for that furnace.
Yep.
And basically what it's doing is you have, there's 4 or 5 fingers in there and they should shoot out a flame straight. And it's kind of like one continuous flame out, and it is actually it could be a safety hazard with carbon dioxide at some point. So that's why he's recommending replacing it before it gets to that point.
I think we're in the same thing here, aren't
Yeah, some Thursday, we, so fine, for the, we need to deal with.
But the other thing is, the building's 28 years old and we're trying to, when Supervisor Hill was chief, he did a great job of, looking ahead and getting some of the bigger ticket items taken care of, and just trying to continue on that. And, we'll get great compliments when people come in there. Oh, this building don't look that old, and that's 28 years old, but if you keep up with it, it's very nice. So,
All
I
right,
just wanted to point that out.
Chief,
What do you do with when you trade out your weapons? Do you trade the other ones in or on new, or is there a market to sell it? How do you dispose of the old ones?
Yeah, we get a training value, and then we've always opted to the employee first for that, to purchase it if they want to. And it's kind of a nice little benefit, I think, because like, You know, I've been there for 20 years and I've had the opportunity to purchase my duty weapons. And it's kind of a nice thing to have, you know, just to say, hey, this is the,
They don't get any better rate, it has to be at whatever rate, but
yes.
you get a buyback.
We get a trade-in value from, Jameson's, and they say, we'll give you $250 for the gun, okay? If the employee wants it, they'll take $250.
That, if you don't, you just trade them in.
Then you just trade it and you get a credit and you go towards the purchase of a new firearm.
Yeah, sure. We don't, and have never done the long gun pieces at all.
For one,
The long gun pieces,
of
of buying, correct, employee buying. Just the duty weapons.
Long guns always go back.
Huh?
The long guns always go back then on trade.
Yeah, they do. Yep. Yep. Yep, the optics of, you know, that whole, 15 thing and whatever out there. So, all right, thank you. All right, I think we're good. Unless you hear something else from us, you can assume that your numbers are find it okay to take the August meeting, because that's the second requirement we have to do.
Yeah, we found one adjustment that we were gonna probably make for the August meeting that will come out with the insurance piece. We noticed that it's increased. Like 4%.
Yeah.
We were gonna.
Yep.
Make
We'll adjust
that,
that one.
we're gonna make that adjustment for the August meeting because we'd already given this, had this done and
That's-
you know, for it, discovered it after the fact.
That's good, because we probably would have discovered it. Said, hey.
Yeah.
Okay, good, you're on it.
yeah.
All right, very good, thank you.
And thanks for the tip.
That. Number two, fire, Cecilia.
First, budget for 27-28. I also gave you a copy of our replacement schedule for equipment. And trucks. And the actual new cost of the equipment and trucks, one of the things they changed a little bit up, was the format and how I ran our budget this year. Fisher was doing it for the last few years and it was a little hard to understand. I think for myself and for Treasurer Anderson, so we made some adjustments. So that it makes more sense, it's clear for me to read. With our revenue, I decided that it's probably a good idea to start increasing what we're getting for EMS billing. We've been running at 96,000 for, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 years. We've been getting over 120, 130 a year, so I decided to bump that up to 110. Especially with the cost increase of the ambulance services that we just did. I have not done anything with fire yet, or intercept, just because I want to see how the cost recovery pans out for us. We haven't been able to get anything back yet. So I don't want to increase that, but I know that we're gonna get some revenue coming in from that. Interest, we raised up to 50,000 and talked to Anderson about that a little bit, and we think it's a pretty significant number, not too high, but hopefully that comes in that way. For 27-28, one of the changes we're gonna make is the on-call overtime. The reason why we put that in there is basically for tracking, we had overtime for shifts, but when people who are full-time or whoever get any after hours runs, their overtime is not being calculated. Because it wasn't coming out of that line, I think that was specifically made for shift work. So if I have a full-time employee who works 102 hours during his shift, but then end up running on calls afterwards or training, it comes out of that line item. We were getting overtime if it wasn't being tracked as overtime. So that's basically tracking to make sure that the clerk's office gets that. We did calculate for the 27 days for the full-time staff, the next two line items. So we added 57.36 for the nights and 90 or 49 and 64 for our EMTs. We did increase our overtime budget. 2025-26, we did it pretty hard. I'm assuming probably because of the transition with myself and chief. This year it's gonna be hit pretty hard again, especially we have a full-time employee who's off. Eye injury, and it's gonna be about a year, so that's gonna lead into the next one anyway. So we did change that number. Police and fire stipend, we don't have any law enforcement anymore, that's cross train, so we moved that, 5,000 up to the on-call overtime line item. Salary is stayed the same, increase has been brought up, when Fisher came to the board 25, 26, you did a pay increase for the, fiscal year 25, 26, 26, 27, 27, 28. So that's a reflection of those that was already approved at the 25, 26 board meeting. Our officer salary, we're changing our officer structure around quite a bit, since Fisher took over, we've never done any increase in our officer pay, the way their responsibilities are gonna change, kind of warrants a little bit of a pay increase. So we tried to increase that a little bit. We are no longer paying the wages of our clerical person, we took the 5,000 out, or the 5,000 out of that, 2,500, and moved that to the 70119 item, which was the on-call overtime. We increased the full-time employee retirement, because of the 27 pays. Our EMS, billing, the fees have increased, quite significantly for the next year, so we increased that. Uniforms, we still have our new uniform shirts, that need to be replaced from our duty crews, and we still need dress uniforms to be, updated. We have some employees that still don't have them, so that's why we increased our uniforms. Maintenance agreement is the same thing, we increased that just because, everything, fees are increasing every single year, we've increased that a little bit. Professional services, same thing, those have also increased, we've increased that. This year, we'll try to replace our 2013 ambulance that we scheduled for replacement. After 25, 26 fiscal year, we held off on the purchase, especially last year because that hit pretty heavy on equipment repairs. So that we want to take out of our, capital equipment carryover for trucks. And if you look down there, I took that out inside, it's 350,000, and brought our total down a little bit. Also, we are in that time frame when we start replacing our SUV models. Brandon and I did do some research, and we found some off-brand models are made by the same company as the SUV models that are made by Scott or MSA. They're just off-brand, so they don't have the big old label. So we're actually gonna save a little bit of money on those. You can get two for the price of one. So we're gonna replace some this year, and then look at replacing, or in 27, 28, and then look at replacing some in 28, 29. So 15,000 covers about half of our models. So that's gonna come out of our durable equipment fire. So every year, we plan on carrying over everybody's $80,000 in our trucks, 20,000 in our fire equipment, 15,000 in our capital projects, and then 10,000 in our equipment. Reason being is if you look at our replacement schedule, those trucks are expensive, they pretty much double the price. That's gonna help offset those costs when it comes down to getting them. So, ambulances right now are running about the same, they're about 350,000 for an ambulance. So that's helping quite a bit, but even our 221, our main engine was 379,000 when we got it, and now it's reaching up to $1 million for a truck. That is kind of where we're at.
And you're still just looking for the 3.03. Mary Jo, question?
None.
No.
How are you estimating the utilities to go down with that?
Because when Fisher did that originally, we were planning on any buildings. So,
No.
Not at the moment.
I don't guess I've got any specific questions, I guess.
Good.
Just, I point out again what changed on the format on this. when you look at the top of that first page, you're gonna see fund balance. That's the unassigned fund balance,
Right.
unreserved. And below that is all the reserve, capital reserves. Those ones in that first column equal the ending balances at the bottom of the middle column. So that's the carryover starting year, and then you got your revenues. And then it's got projected at the end with the 350,000 of that capital equipment coming out of the capital equipment carryover, and then still funding it with the 80,000. So it makes a lot more sense, I think, to Christie. It makes more sense to me. And hopefully it makes more sense to the public when they look at that, because you can follow. You're not putting in full expenditure in there, what was before, that was really what was gonna be spent plus the carryover. She's only budgeting the capital that they literally will be cutting checks for in a year.
And Christie, she comes to visit me in one, and we've talked about, what's necessary for the upcoming budget and those kinds of things, not really having any questions. I think the board take a look at it, just want you Krasinski's, and if there's anything else, we can get back with them, if there were any potential changes for the August meeting, if it's necessary. Are you guys good with that? Okay, sounds good. Chief, thank you.
Thanks.
Very good. Oh, we are on to number 30, which was filling out planning commission position. We had 3 applications, one from Ethan Brandon, received on June 2nd. One from Thomas Kaiser on 6/4, and Carlos Jean-Francois on May 18th, 26. So first one was Carlos. And the second one was Ethan, the third one is Tom Kaiser. Now, this is a 3-year position. We appointed Greg Seaback to reappointing myself, shall I say, for that 7/1/26, 7/1/29. You all have copies of this to take a look at each and every one of them. I know Treasurer Anderson had mentioned in our last work session, or our last meeting, about the importance of trying to maintain a quorum piece when it comes to voting. We have quite a few folks that were on Zoom during different parts of the year. We can't vote over Zoom. So for me, and reviewing them, I like the idea actually that fellow Jean-Francois, Carlos, has been a real estate broker for several years, but nonetheless, he used to be on the board of review for our taxes. And I've watched him for a couple of years now. I think that he works well with people. He doesn't come to any conclusions ahead of time. I think he would be open to listen, not the other two would either, but he is definitely there and always present. So that's my 2 cents in this. All 3 of them would do a wonderful job, I'm sure. But I guess my preference would be Carlos at this point, but I'm open to any discussion if any of you wish.
Kind of surprised on
Hmm.
that. I know.
You all had a chance to look at it, you comfortable with voting now? Okay, then I would make a motion that the board appoint Carlos Francois to the Gerrish Township Planning Commission for 3-year term, beginning 7/1/26 through 7/1/29. Give us your point. Trustee,
I'll second that.
trustee Happy, just seconding that, is there further discussion, board? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, Michelle. Will you notify each of the applicants, with, let them know And then Jim, I guess if you could carry the message to the planning commission. When he shows up, no, I heard.
Does somebody order, or does he already have one?
You should fill in that one from board
I think
review.
I've seen that here.
His board review service ended because he had a different job, brought him to day shifts, if you will, which he couldn't do the VOR anymore, but it's always been eager to serve the township. Very good line. All right, very good. Then we're on to number 4, looking ahead, and I know we all talked about it now, heck, let's go to that meeting on July 2nd. Which is the work session, so there's a proposal here to change the work session because of the holiday weekend from July 2nd to July 9th. We're able to do that because we're 14th, I think, or something, is a regular meeting. So we can afford to back that up and get out of the 4th of July weekend concept. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You'll be missing a chair, probably, but. So, are you guys okay with doing that? And if so, we need a motion
We'll make that motion.
that the board approve the July work session to be moved from July 2nd to July 9th at 9 a.m. Or 9 a.m.
So moved.
Well, do we need a support?
Support? Sure. I'll support it, or I'll support that.
Okay, trustee, so any further discussion, board?
I'm sorry, who was that?
All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried, thank you. Any comments out there? Anybody else? No comments out there, okay? All right, very good, I would entertain a motion.
No. We get comments from us.
Oh, yeah, if you want one.
I have one.
Then we'll start with trustee Hopkins.
None.
Okay. I wanted to ask while I have you two here, Brian and Jim Anderson. The election commission, are you two available for a July 13th meeting? I know it's a Monday, so if we need to do it later in the morning. That's Monday, July 13th.
I have one scheduled already for 1 at 9 and 1 at 9:50, which one? There's been
Do
2.
I have to already do that?
We have one election commission meeting at 9 o'clock on the 13th, and I have a public activity at 9:30.
Okay, do you know
What?
that?
July 13th,
Okay.
you and I, if another election, so we have to be present again. You do the election commission meeting and then have that public access.
After,
Feed the
that's
ballot.
9:30, but if you want me to make it later, I can, because you have DDA on Monday, so yeah.
I have the third Monday of the month, and that's actually the second. month.
Okay, so will those times work for you?
Yeah,
You sure?
You
Not
must have
very
sent it in,
flexible.
You must have.
I don't know, that's there.
No, I wouldn't have.
that's grandfather week, so,
No, my-
but I, it's fine, because I'll just, well, I don't got either on. Okay, but, yeah,
Just need you, is the morning better than the afternoon?
yes.
It'll be very quick. Okay, thank you.
You know, Jim, I talked to Ray from that thing, I was talking about announcements, forestry, there was a forest management plan or something that. I don't know whether anybody, member of the board wants to go to that, it's in July. It's a typical DNR, working on their forest plan. I have the letter if anybody is interested in going,
It looked like on that letter that they also stated that that will be available via,
it is.
pull it up and look at it, so you look at it and you say. Whoa, they're gonna do a clear cutting across the street from me, you might wanna then
And you have.
take an interest. in
Yeah,
it.
and there's a month that you have to shoot questions or otherwise, even if you didn't attend after looking at
Or
that.
do you have to say you're gonna attend to get the
No,
Zoom
it
or?
looked like it,
Okay,
didn't look like it to me, but if anybody's at all interested in it, see me.
I'd be interested, but I'd like to see it on my own time.
And then as soon as we're done here, I will give you that letter,
Okay.
all right? Jim, if you need that.
I do not.
Things are moving forward, there's a thing with tax bill this morning and. So, you're on the schedule to get them mailed out, and you should have them in your mailbox July 1st.
We look forward to it, sir.
And as also as a note, too, I haven't received anything back from our company on the review of our special assessed property in note or the special assessed at large regarding that bill and the wisdom of the leading stuff.
And,
No, we haven't, and we were told not to until our attorney gave us the information of the FNL.
Oh, I'm good with that.
You know, that's where it's standing. I have nothing to, you get anything? I haven't heard anything. Okay, very good. Then I do it. So now we're on to the motion to adjourn at, you're in the meeting at 1:45. So,
I'll second that.
Anderson, seconded by Trustee Hoppe. All in favor of this discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Opposed, same motion carries. Thank you all.
Yeah, before you